So what does this bourbon cicada and this bourbon alcohol drink have in common? Well, both require about 17 years to age, and you can see from this map here, the bourbon brood is brood 14 in 2025. It's a periodic cicada or a 17-year cycle cicada. And while Kentucky is the epicenter of the bourbon brood, you can find these cicadas in Tennessee, Ohio, Georgia, and West Virginia. Now, they're called the bourbon brood because they're largely concentrated in Kentucky, but it also had a name of Pilgrim's brood in 1634 by a pilgrim by the name of William Bradford, who discovered these. They also have the nickname Black Prince due to the color of their bodies, and they are native to the continent of Australia. Now, these green or black varieties are what are called annual cicadas, and they're a little bit larger. They're a little bit larger than an inch in length. The black and orange ones with the orange eyes, those are just a touch smaller, and those are your periodical ones that you've seen before. Now, it's important to note that each different type of cicada has its own unique song used to attract a mate. The periodic ones, or the bourbon ones in Kentucky, they're underground for 17 years, and then they come up for about 2 weeks, and they'll molt, shed their exoskeleton, revealing their adult form with the wings, and then they will try to find their mate. Now, these green ones you're looking at right here, they're a different kind called green grocer, and they are found in Australia. And you can see just how unique these creatures look with their coloration. There's another kind in Australia, like this right here, which is called the blue moon cicada. They're very rare, and you can only find them once in a blue moon. That's why they get their name, but they're beautiful. And you can even find some that are rare here with blue eyes like this. Now, you can see the common one has the red eyes. If you happen to find one with blue eyes, an entomologist would probably pay you pretty well for having such a rare cicada if you were to keep it after its death. Let's shift gears a little bit and talk about the full moon that came out on May 12th. It was a micro moon sitting at about 252,000 miles away from Earth. The Comanche tribe of Indians called it the flower moon, while the Creek and Choctaw tribe would call it the mulberry moon. The Cree tribe would call it the frog moon. Frogs announced the start of spring, and the Anishinaabe tribe would call it the blossom moon, while the Apache tribe would call it the big leaf moon. So now that spring is well underway and the temperatures are rising, there is a book called The Full Cicada Moon. It's not the real name of a moon, but it does talk about this 1969 story where this woman's trying to fit in and the Apollo 11 mission is getting ready to launch. So it's a pretty good read if you want to check it out. Now, this is also the time of year where you might come across this creature called a luna moth, or otherwise known as a moon moth. Now, how many people have been lucky enough to actually see this? I saw one when I was a child. I saw maybe 2 or 3 in my life. They're very rare, and in Indiana, they've now pretty well become seemingly extinct. There are different varieties. There is the green moon moth. It's also called a moon moth. There's also the purple moon moth, not really seen in this area. There's a blue moon moth, kind of like the cicadas we talked about. And there's also a white moon moth. Very interesting. These are around trees such as the walnut tree, the hickory tree, the persimmon tree, and the sweet gum tree. Any tree that provides that kind of food for them. So you're looking at the exoskeleton of a cicada, and you can hear the sound that they are making to attract a mate. And they'll come up after being in the ground under roots of trees like this one here for either 13 or 17-year cycles. So this particular species happens to be under the ground for 17 years. They'll come out for about 2 weeks to find a mate, rub their legs, flap their wings, make the sounds, and then deposit their exoskeletons. And then not long after that, they're dead. And then the females will produce young that will burrow into the ground and feed on the roots of all these trees. And that's why whenever you're around woods, you'll hear them.